show this a little and then introduce Sammy. Yeah. Kind of like a wide, then introduce Sammy. Do you want to roll on?
I'll record it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay. Oops.
We get a little bit of a look at damage in Florida on the western coastline. See that boat? It's up on the dock, and you can see the water level is really, really high in that area of Sarasota right there on the beach. Several groups around Cincinnati are stepping up to organize relief for Hurricane Milton.
I know.
The people leading these efforts all have ties to Florida. Jake Fernandez of Hebron is partnering with the Parlor Salon in Burlington. They're collecting toiletries, non-perishable food. He was forced to move back to Cincinnati after Hurricane Ian. The Pirates Den on the west side is gathering items until tomorrow. And Cincinnati native Steve Hill now lives in Palmetto, but he came...
All right. I assume soon.
She's being really descriptive with the hurricane.
What did I sign up for?
I'm fine, trust me. I'm glad that everybody,
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
We do our part.
Yeah. Have you just been out, like, checking to make sure?
Yeah,
everything-
my house only got wind, honestly.
That's
My house is fine.
It's not even as much rain.
That's what me and my brother-in-law were saying. Where's the rain at? Where's the rain at? Okay, yeah, it was just, we'll just come out. Let's go see what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're driving up, poking away. It's fine. We got doubts.
Yeah.
What happened?
I know. Unbelievable. I was just so surprised. No rain.
No rain.
Like this morning, I was like, I don't know how long it's gonna take me to drive to work. It was so wet. Like literally nothing.
I'm talking about a drop of rain. I drained my pool.
Is this guy coming?
Boy.
Okay. And they said when you do go, you can go as long as you want.
Oh. If you want to. Oh.
Say that. But it's been a busy night for rescuers and the police department down here. We've seen a heavy police presence throughout the morning here before daylight. That's a video we want to show you that the police chief of Tampa brought forward a little while ago at a news conference.
Okay, stand by.
That, there
That's
was
fine.
a large tree that fell on a house during the storm. Inside the house, 15 people. I guess they were all gathered there together to shelter from the storm.
Here we go.
And his officers had to go in and rescue those 15 people out of that one house. We've heard there's water rescues that have been going on.
Yes, Sam, and what we're seeing is just unbelievably sad this morning, just to get kind of a preview and to see how widespread this is. Take a look. I mean, earlier this morning, it was so hard to tell just the extent of all this. Now that the sun's coming up, it is unbelievable. Looks like something out of a movie. We've seen fences, power lines, trees, vehicles, you name it, just kind of smashed and toppled all over yards and streets out here. Now, while we've been outside, we've been talking to people who live in the neighborhood. One of them is this gentleman here, Sammy Main. Sammy, thanks for joining us this morning. How'd you make out last night?
Held together. together. You know, my house is fine, my family is fine, but my community is hurt right now. So that being said, you know, the acreage is some, you know, a spot where everybody's gonna come together. I had to drive out just to see what the damage was, um, but it's like you said, almost something out of a horror movie, demonic like.
Yeah, and I know you have a big old pickup truck. You've been kind of knocking on your neighbors' doors. Really unbelievable to see the support as people start waking up. But from what you're hearing from other people, what was the scene like when this hit? Because I know a lot of people are saying it happened so quickly, but everyone really jumped into action.
Like you said before, out of a horror movie, it's something that nothing less. You know, we don't prepare for anything like this. This never happened in the acreage or in Loxahatchee or in West Palm, Royal Palm, anywhere you're at in Palm Beach County. This doesn't really happen. So for, you know, you just sit outside your door and you see it coming towards you, you can't do nothing about it. You know, all you can do is just, you know, prepare for the worst and pray for the best.
Yeah, and then before I send you on your way, Sammy, you were talking about this area which we've seen all morning long, and you're saying that this isn't even compared to the streets over areas that we haven't even seen yet. What can people expect as they start getting a chance to kind of step outside their doors?
Well, just expect, you know, just be patient. First of all, be patient. Take a breath. It's going to be overwhelming for some of these people. A street over, there's a trailer home in the middle of the road. There's lines out. There's paper everywhere. There's an unopened box right here as well. So just be patient. You know, take a breath. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sammy. And you be careful as you continue to make your way out. And thank you so much. And of course, Matt, Sam, we're going to continue to stay put out here. We should update you, though. We did see that Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. We can hear law enforcement in the area. That is something that has been happening all throughout the morning. A lot of these roads have been shut off, but we should confirm before we send it out. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, they did post overnight saying that at least 5 people were taken to the hospital. 3 of them were considered trauma patients. So of course we know the severity of their injuries, very serious out there. We also know that several people were forced to be pulled from their vehicles, a lot of them kind of abandoned throughout the roads we're seeing. Certainly something we will continue to assess the damage as we go forward with the day, but devastating nonetheless. Matt, Sam. Good job, Sammy. Yay.
I wanted it smooth, man.
I know, right?
That's hard to
I'm
do
a
on
business
live.
owner, so I got to be on the move all the time. I'm with my business
Yo,
anyway.
man, that's hard to do on live.
of what these tornadoes did, what they did to houses, what they did to people, what they did to roads. This is the first look that we're getting now that the sun is coming up so that we can actually see some of the damage that was caused. This is not one of those circumstances where we have to shine and see what's going on. Mother Nature is going to do that for us after the storm. So we're going to go check out what's lying around in Port St. Lucie, and Officer Berger here is going to take us around, and he's going to be his first look at this as well. So we'll keep you guys updated on what we see over the next hour or so. Guys, back to you. Okay.
I'm sorry, it is not.
No, it's not you. It's just the camera never makes this easy until in a closed space.
Fair enough. So one thing that I noticed yesterday was your ears pop right before a tornado hits, and that was something I was never told.
Yeah.
And I experienced it because I was one of the closest people to it, and I was like, "What is this?" I didn't even know. Because when you're so close, you can't even see the tone, so it's just like a big storm. And it was quick. It was unbelievable how fast. It was like mass damage in like seconds. So it's like hearing people pass from it. It's like
Right.
absolutely. You have no time to. You have 30 seconds once your ears pop before it's on you.
Right.
Wow.
It's like nothing. It's so quick.
All I could do, I didn't even film it. I just sat in my car and I like closed the windows. I was like, I don't know what else to do because like the wind was shaking my car violently.
Well, yesterday we were out in Indian River Estates, and we were out there with that flooding at a time. That was crazy.
Oh,
Again,
But we're,
How bad was the
let me get like a game plan
It was
as
bad.
far as,
it was bad. These people had, there was like a river.
Or what did you have in mind?
you could say, I was just gonna say like this morning, I kind of liked how you could see like the water in the background, the dock in there.
Okay. Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, let's just do, and then we're doing some pictures like after this, then pop over and see if you can get footage of like the trailer, I mean the RV thing, which he said was right on the next street. About, oh, that thing? Oh, yeah, right there. I think that's it too. Yeah, I kind of like this, how we like did like the little walk around. And dangerous to this family here. There's some more debris in the front yard that we can show you here. Trees snapped in half. This just shows the power of this storm. Now, neighbors are starting to come out this morning and survey the damage to their homes. This is definitely one of the hardest hit homes in the Rocky. As the sun has come up, people are coming over to this homeowner and asking if he needs any help. Cleanup efforts are only just beginning. But we have seen, Sam, I heard you talk about the community and how they rally together in times like this. And in the Rocky Point community, that speaks volumes. People are walking their dogs, they're delivering water to one another. I'm watching neighbors hand out water to each other. Everyone's checking in on their neighbors here. Everyone, for the most part, is accounted for and safe. They say the man who owns this house said that he heard a train coming. That's what they describe. Many of the neighbors have described as the tornadoes ripped through. So they were actually at a neighbor's house at a get-together at the time when the tornadoes were coming. Everyone took shelter in their own homes. The homeowner here was able to collect 4 kids and his wife and put them in the kitchen. That's their safest area away from the windows. So very lucky to be alive. They feel lucky to be alive. Of course, we'll take you over to this mess that they have to clean up here. Lots of damage. They don't know where they're going to start, but they are thankful that they're alive, their family is okay, and their neighbors are okay as well. We'll continue to survey the damage here in the Stewart area in Rocky Point, but we'll send it back to you guys now at the desk. If you take a look to the side of us here as neighbors start making their way out, they're also realizing just how serious this is. We've seen multiple vehicles just kind of pulled over to the side of the road, many of them with the windshield blown out, glass shattered everywhere. Park benches a reminder of what was here not even 24 hours ago. Certainly a much different vibe out here. As you can see in the distance here, trees barely recognizable and homes just shattered in the distance there. It looks like it's a small RV that's actually toppled on its side. So it really just kind of reinforces just how strong that storm and wind must have been last night. Now, first responders have said that they reported to the scene here for a tornado, that they took at least 5 people to the hospital. 3 of them had to get trauma lifted out of here, which, as we know, means they were seriously injured. Several others were treated on the scene. And as of right now, we're still just trying to talk to people in the area, see what they know, how they've made out overnight, and really just where they go from here. So as the day goes on, we'll certainly assess the damage further and hopefully have some updates throughout the day and check in with you. But for now, reporting from the acreage in Palm Beach County, Florida, I'm Kara Duffy. Okay. Three, two, these early morning hours, and the damage is a lot more widespread than we first realized. When we came out here earlier this morning, it was so dark out on top of the power outages, it was hard to tell. And now, as you can see, just total devastation. We've seen trees just snapped right in half, vehicles that had rolled across multiple lanes of traffic, ending up here just feet away from a neighborhood pond area. A big chunk of the dock that's also in this community lake and pond area, that was now pushed all the way up onto the road. Debris scattered everywhere. Now, if you take a look to the side of us here, as neighbors start making their way out, they're also realizing just how serious this is. We've seen multiple vehicles just kind of pulled over to the side of the road, many of them with the windshield blown out, glass shattered everywhere, park benches. A reminder of what was here not even 24 hours ago. Certainly a much different vibe out here. As you can see in the distance here, trees barely recognizable and homes just shattered in the distance there. It looks like it's a small RV that's actually toppled on its side. So it really just kind of reinforces just how strong that storm and wind must have been last night. Now, first responders have said that they reported to the scene here for a tornado, that they took at least 5 people to the hospital. 3 of them had to get trauma lifted out of here, which, as we know, means they were seriously injured. Several others were treated on the scene. And as of right now, we're still just trying to talk to people in the area, see what they know, how they've made out overnight, and really just where they go from here. So as the day goes on, we'll certainly assess the damage further and hopefully have some updates throughout the day and check in with you. But for now, reporting from the acreage in Palm Beach County, Florida, I'm Kara Duffy.
Camper shifted to the left and almost took out the AC, but that's kind of what's left of it. Lost the fence. I mean, we're lucky. And then the tiki's got all sorts of holes in it.
the power utilities have been called. They're notified of all the outages. Any low-lying wire, they've been notified. They have a list of the number of the wires that they need to come fix. It's just these winds need to die down before they can safely get on a bucket and fix them and bring people back their power.
And we're going to continue riding around the city of Port St. Lucie, surveying the damage, and we'll continue to keep you guys in the loop. For now, in Port St. Lucie, and Huberman, CBS 12 News. Okay, do we need a bob, you think, still? Probably a quick one.
Maybe.
All right, so let's go back here, and this is just 30 seconds of me nodding my head, and you could pretend the camera's not on. I know, right?
So what am I doing?
Just act natural. Okay, cool. So now we can roll out to the next spot.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing with that camera.
Try your best.
These cameras are small.
Some, but not. You want to still keep like a TV quality. We haven't hit that point yet.
Or it's like a little camcorder type of thing.
and then just look at me, forget that's there, just
Okay.
don't do.
Do you just want to focus on him or?
Either way. Yeah, he's like,
you focus on everything.
Well, no, I need to.
you're good. Either way, doesn't matter to me.
I'll do it solo for right now.
Okay, let me get you to spell pronounce your first and last name for me.
Jim Back, Jimback.
Now, this devastation here, describe what happened here.
Yesterday we were standing inside our house watching it, and you could see the winds pick up and that, and you could feel that tornado coming through, and we just watched everything get picked up and take the shed and lifted it up and throw it right over to the neighbor's yard and stuff.
Our plan today is to continue our assessments, determine
When it comes to all of this, you've probably lived here for a few years. Have you ever seen any bit of debris like this?
Our foremost priority is our resident safety. And to do that, we want to make sure that they have the services they need. If they are unable to stay at their homes, if their homes are compromised, that they reach out to us, they reach out to the sheriff's office, they reach out to fire rescue to get the support they require. Second, we also want to go ahead and ensure that at this point, really, we'd like them to stay home if possible, stay off the roadways, shelter in place as we start this assessment and recovery and try and get through the process. We're hopeful that it won't take that long to at least get the assessment completed. And in that time, we just want to go ahead and support our first responders to let them get their jobs done and, again, keep our residents safe, which is our highest priority.
You know, some people are waking up still in the dark. I believe at 5 a.m. about 30%, so roughly 8,000 people here in Wellington were still without power. I mean, any idea when they could get electricity back?
Our discussions with FPL this morning indicate that's about right. We're still in that 8,000, 8,040 customers that are without power, roughly 30% of our customer base here in Wellington. And as a result, FPL has indicated they have crews out. They are starting to try and address those outage issues. Largely, I think, based on FPL's recommendation and assessment that most of those outages are a result of down power lines. And the good news is with the weather and not being as inclement as we had expected, they're able to start those repairs now, and hopefully that number we'll see drop sooner rather than later.
Jim, thank you so much for your time. I know you have a lot of work ahead of you today, so I appreciate you taking some time to speak with us.
Thank you.
We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio. Hopefully we're going to head back out there and bring you some more, but for now, back to you. All right, so we're going to head back out there. Are there any spots that you think we should definitely...
Well, there's one spot you should hit, except that you may not be able to get in there because access was really tough.
Okay.
It's Rustic Ranches.
Okay.
That's on Flying Cow Road.
Okay.
Okay, and that was hit pretty hard. But you can wait a little.
You know what? Why don't we swap places? Why don't they come where I am and I go there, so the damage is behind them? Let's play a little Jenga. You guys start it.
Dylan, if you want it, you probably want to be on the left of me.
You want me on there too?
You just want to be the left of me, so I can
Okay.
like frame it and still kind of showcase the shed.
Okay. I'll give you guys the heads up when they give it to me. But it'll be natural. It'll just be, we'll have a conversation. We'll point out what's what.
You've been doing great.
And you've been doing good too. You've been.
Yeah, I'm shocked the pool stayed. But didn't that?
I guess it was further this way maybe.
Yeah, this had to be enough. I'll tell you what, I've never seen. Well, I mean, being from the north, seeing tornadoes every once in a while is a normal thing.
Yeah.
But when you're standing there inside the house and you're looking out, and all of a sudden you could feel the wind. You could see that wind.
Did you hear pop?
Yeah, no, you could just hear the noise.
It's Merrick Avenue, right? That's the street.
Eric.
Yeah.
Merrick.
But then
Merrick
all of a
Ave.
sudden you started seeing everything just peeling and going right up.
Did you see the?
We didn't see
I
it.
got a video I'll show you.
Yeah.
It over here while.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That was, I think they did that yesterday.
Yeah. Do you want to stop here?
Sure.
Hey, Brogan. Well, this is Chris and Charlotte. We're coming up on, where are we right now?
Stand by. All
We're in
right, guys,
Fort
get
Pierce
ready.
about like that huge structure damage that Karam and Vicky were at yesterday. Do you want us to stay here?
Guys, I'm joined here by Jim Back and Officer Peter Berger. And Jim Back, this is your backyard. Describe to me what happened here.
We had a tornado hit us, and it just sucked everything and threw everything all over the place.
Now, what did this backyard look like? Because we see piles of everything. We see the fences down. What was back here? How much did you lose?
We lost our shed and everything that was in the shed, our fence, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know everything that's gone yet.
And what are you guys going to do next to try and repair the damage? And how thankful are you
Crazy.
that no people were hurt here?
We're very thankful no people were hurt here. We were just lucky that all we have is damage to the house a little bit and everything.
And now to fix that damage, we have Officer Berger here kind of giving us the lowdown. So Officer Berger, what is the next step here? What do you see here that needs to be done?
A lot of debris needs to be picked up, whether that be from Public Works or whatnot. As soon as it's safe for them to come out, they will come out. But due to the winds, they haven't been out yet.
Now, when it comes to the fencing, like you were saying in the ride-along, a lot of the times these fences don't stand a chance with tornadoes. Seeing how everything else went down, but the pool stayed intact, how surprised are you?
That is surprising. It is. But the fence posts that are lying all around, see where some of them hit that shed over there, and that's got to be the most dangerous part there of a tornado. It's the flying debris, and it pierced right through that shed with no problem.
Now, this is a back street. This is Merrick Street. Like you mentioned, 2 or 3 houses on this block. How did the tornado just decide to come through and just destroy Mr. Back's backyard and just leave unannounced?
It had a mind of its own. Zigzagged through this part of the city. Unpredictable.
And have either of you guys ever seen a tornado in St. Lucie County do this?
I've been here 8 years, and I've never seen a tornado hit the county like this. I mean, for me, but I have only lived here 8 years.
Same. I've never seen it in 19 years.
And guys, we're going to keep surveying the damage around the city as we keep going around here with Officer Berger. Jim, thank you very much for your time. Matt and Sam, back to you. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
did great.
No. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you. And
Yeah, I saw you yesterday, right?
yes,
You came outside.
Yes, I gave you a thumbs up for that. That's great.
It was just.
But everyone, that's what it's good though. It's too much for free fall out. Right.
It was everywhere. So it was like,
Oh, I think it had to be crazy.
But it's not bad now having the windows open. There's actually a breeze.
Yeah, there's breeze. I had to open it up because we don't have power right now. It's kind of weird. Like some of this area don't have power, but.
Hey, so you guys still have the other look live to use? We did the other look live from before. We did an interview with Jim that the editors rolled on as well, but all right, so it's this neighborhood. Okay, so we did an interview with Jim before we did the live interview with him, and Eric's getting the B-roll now plus the other look live, but Jim's got to get back inside, so we can't film a look live here for that. So we'll get back. Okay. Off of that. Okay, we can do that. And we're not going to stay in his backyard, but we'll just be somewhere else in the city. That's fine. I could shoot it right now. I could just do one without Jim in it and just do the backyard. Yeah, we'll shoot a look live for it right now. Okay, we'll do. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so we're gonna film like a little. What's up?
So you see that transformer up there?
Yeah.
There's an umbrella stuck in it right up there.
Oh.
See that up there?
Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get out of your hair, I'm gonna film like a very quick 1 or 2 minute thing here,
Go right ahead.
and then your backyard is yours again. All right, Eric, you ready? Okay.
I guess that's your left.
I'm here off of Merrick Street in Port St. Lucie, which is just off Rosser Boulevard, and you can see all the damage here. This is Jim Back's backyard, and the fence is gone. The fence completely decked out, his shed in shambles, it blew through, and you can even see an umbrella that actually got stuck up in the transformer. A couple of people in this neighborhood are without power, but miraculously, even though the fence went down, he has a large in-ground pool over here, and that pool and the deck around it somehow were okay. The tornado ripped right around his entire yard and dodged this, and it even hit the neighbor's side. You can see they had a little stayed-in deck there, and that deck is no more. But I got to talk to Jim about his experience here, what happened, and how happy he is that people were not impacted in his yard. In Port St. Lucie and Huberman, CBS 12 News. We'll keep monitoring the damage around the city, but for now, guys, back to you in Port St. Lucie and Huberman, CBS 12 News. Okay, that and that, Bob. You recorded that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so I just gotta listen to
off for a second just to take a video with my phone. I'll be right back.
We're at Orange Avenue and South Rocks Road, just outside of Port St. Lucie. No, Fort Pierce, sorry. It was just scattered everywhere.
It's also weird how you can like hear the alarms going off too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure their alarms are like, what is going on? Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, so we are in Fort Pierce, or just outside of Fort Pierce, at the Orange Ave exit. We're at the corner of Orange and Rocks Road, and there is a giant warehouse that was torn up behind me. It looks like it was one of the areas that the tornado passed through. I mean, with the way the damage looks, there's no way that it wasn't a tornado. And this is one of those warehouses that pop up pretty fast. It's, you know, just kind of built with those metal supports and then some aluminum around it. So it doesn't take a very strong tornado to rip these apart. However, I wanted to highlight how far the damage is scattered. Across the street, I would say at least a few hundred yards down away from the road. And because of the orientation of this, you know, with the tornadoes tracking from south to north, it's likely was lofted up and then carried with it as it traveled towards another aluminum structure, which is torn up down that way as well. And I also wanted to highlight behind me, this is exactly the risks that come with going outside during these tornadoes before emergency officials get to the areas. There are active wires down. You know, we don't know if they're live necessarily. They could have been cut off last night, but they're down in the waters and the canals on the side of the road, and you can see them everywhere. So it just highlights how, you know, these things, they rip apart these power lines. There's no power on Orange Ave. The Wawa down the road has no power. Several other of the gas stations right off at this exit have no power as well. So it does appear as though at least the tornado may have ripped through the power line. That may have been the way through which the power was cut off, or they cut off the power manually. But I mean, this is crazy. I don't think, I've lived in Florida my whole life, and I've never seen damage like this because of a tropical tornado. Normally these are just smaller, quick-lived EF0, EF1 tornadoes, but Jen was mentioning earlier that jet stream, that was one of the things that contributed to these being a little bit longer track and also stronger at times. So it'll be really interesting. You know, this is one of the structures that they don't consider to be well constructed when they're doing their assessments. So when the National Weather Service of Melbourne comes out here tomorrow, it'll be interesting to see what they give this area a rating in terms of the EF scale. I'll send it back to y'all.
Let's shoot a look live before we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, just a lot of damage and devastation. Take a look. You can see a big thing that we've been seeing in a lot of different places, these down power lines, the down power poles, which of course very dangerous, and just a ton of debris. Now, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, they just got out on the scene maybe 5 minutes ago or so. We're still unsure exactly what they're doing. They are putting some gear on now, but of course we're trying to be extra careful as it is still very dangerous. And perhaps one of the most telling things behind us here, this RV trailer, it's really hard to even make out what it was in the first place. Just completely destroyed, crumpled as if it were a toy car of some sort. We've been seeing a lot of people kind of coming out, starting their morning and taking in the devastation. Really, really upsetting to see, as so many people are realizing just how serious this was last night. You know, something that we've been talking to a lot of neighbors about, the fact that we didn't get a ton of rain. You know, people typically associate the heavy rain, the heavy wind, and everyone was saying, wow, you know, I didn't hear it raining. I didn't think we were going to get it that bad. And then boom, out of nowhere, this happens. And unfortunately, that is one of the really scary things about the tornadoes.
Yeah, guys, I am out here at the corner of Orange Ave and South Rocks Road, just outside of Fort Pierce on the west side of 95. And there is a giant warehouse-like structure torn to pieces behind me. This is one of those warehouses that you see that kind of pop up out of nowhere. They're built with some aluminum supports and then those outside kind of aluminum ridge structures. And the damage is spread across the street, at least down a quarter of a mile, a few hundred yards. We can't even see the extent because it starts to get a little too densely covered with trees. But this is just an example of how these tornadoes were longer tracked, because all of this debris was lofted and picked up, taken down a few hundred yards at least. And it also shows how the down power lines are one of the primary risks associated with these tornadoes, because this, if it was a tornado that made its way across the street, it ripped apart the power lines. There's no power on this street right now, whether that be because they cut the power or because of the power lines being severed. But the power lines themselves are lying in these reservoir pools of water that formed because of the rain that happened yesterday. Fort Pierce saw at least 4 inches of rain during the downpours that we saw associated with these tornadoes. So it will be very interesting to see when the National Weather Service of Melbourne comes out here tomorrow to do their assessment, what they determine the EF rating of the tornado to be. This is one of the structures that they do not consider to be well constructed, as you know, they're just built essentially with sticks and some aluminum and propped up kind of very fast. And so we'll get that updated survey for you as soon as we have it. But for now, reporting live just outside of Fort Pierce, I'm Charlotte Carl for CBS 12 News. Of this, I'll get it figured out.
You nailed it. Honestly, that's exactly the stick out.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
See like a path, like in the grass, like where the strongest part was or something, you know? It's just, I would have thought there would be some way to tell. All you got is like an area.
McDonald Street, Lantern Ave.
Like that way, if we do go someplace else, they can run it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, just so we have it.
I'll just do it like describe the situation, and then I'll come back to you and say, okay, now what do we do?
Okay.
Better than having to shoot it later.
Yep. All right. Oh, do we need to move out of the way? Hi. Should we move out of the way, sir?
Yeah, we got a loader coming to move this, get everything off the road.
Okay, sounds good. I can just shoot and say we're leaving out, yeah. Yep. No, I'm not putting you on the news. Public space, so. Let me know when you're ready. All right. 3, 2, 1. Right now we're here along 87th Street North. This is near Coconut Boulevard off of North Lake, just a few blocks away from where we've been spending most of the morning out here. And as you can see, another look at just how much devastation some of these neighborhoods here in the acreage are getting and waking up to. Take a look. You can see massive trees like this one behind us here just sprawled out across the street, downed power lines, and of course a mess of debris, basketball nets, furniture, appliances, some of them indoor appliances now on the outside, scattered across the lawns here. And of course the big concern this morning, the down power lines. We did just see some crews arrive to the scene out here. They tell us that their priority right now is getting this cleared up, making sure it is secure. So we are going to relocate soon. But before we do, I want to show you in the distance here, we have this RV trailer area. It's hard to tell what it really was to begin with. It almost looks like a toy just crumpled up, just absolutely devastating out here this morning. So again, we're going to continue to stay put, make sure this area gets secured and blocked off, and we will have another check with you guys coming up in just a few. For now, reporting in Palm Beach County, I'm Kurt Effie, CBS 12 News. Yeah, sure.
the sun came up this morning. They've kind of just been out on golf carts surveying damage, making sure their neighbors are okay. And everyone we spoke with says that their neighbors were accounted for and everyone seems to be doing okay so far. Now the cleanup only begins. Back to you.
And those are running down to the ground. So there is a lot of electricity here on the ground. So they're making sure that nobody comes on Lantern Avenue. And now I'll bring in Officer Berger. So Officer Berger, now that you see all this damage, what's the next step to make sure that this gets rectified?
We've notified FPL. They're aware this line is down and they're working as fast as they can.
Now, when it comes to this happening in a community, obviously there's not much that you can do on site, but how important is it to make sure that nobody gets near this, even though the sun is out and the storm's done?
Electricity is dangerous, whether it's sunny or tornado in general, so it's in your best interest to stay away from power lines.
And now that we see that there's a lot of caution tape around these trees, around that, obviously that's not something that can get fixed in 2 seconds, but this whole neighborhood without power, how quick and how much of a priority is it to make sure that they get power back?
It is a top priority. I have not given it.
And from there, we will see where things go. But for now, in Port St. Lucie and Huberman, CBS 12 News. Okay, and then stay put for 2 seconds. We'll do a little head bob thing.
Well, I mean, as of last night, I went to bed at 11 o'clock after my 12-hour shift. As of that time, the top 5 windows, one of them was here. Out of the whole thing, and the storm's on the way there. Probably should. That's what we heard, yeah. Stay safe. To stay here or go to like the Spanish Lakes place?
resources, making the experience easier for users. If traffic lights are out in your area, please drive with caution and treat each light as you would a four-way stop. And also remember, if you're going to use a chainsaw, be very careful with that. We have mishaps on that after every storm. We are extending the Hope Florida line for another 2 weeks at 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you need assistance or resources post-storm, you can call 1-833-GET-HOPE, 1-833-GET-HOPE. Hope Florida's Disaster Arm, Activate Hope, is a program designed to help people find help following a disaster such as a hurricane. So you can call the Hope line. You can also visit the Hope bus, which will some of these areas very soon, and there'll be announcements about that. Florida and the State Emergency Response Team activated the Business Damage Assessment Survey in response to Hurricane Milton. Business owners can self-report physical and economic damage caused by the storm. Businesses can complete the survey online at floridadisaster.biz, floridadisaster.biz. Florida Commerce has also activated the Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. We have $50 million available to Florida small businesses, and it's a zero interest loan, very flexible repayment options. You can apply for loans of up to $50,000 through the program. Loans of up to $100,000 are available for agriculture and aquaculture small businesses, and loans of $150,000 are available for citrus and cattle operations. Again, these are short-term zero-interest loan. You get the cash in your hand. The repayment terms are very flexible. You can apply at www.floridajobs.org/EBL, floridajobs.org/EBL. We've also activated the Florida Disaster Fund for those who want to make tax-deductible charitable contributions that will be used to be able to help Floridians who are in need, and you can go to floridadisasterfund.org, floridadisasterfund.org, if you have any questions. We're going to continue to support all remaining rescue missions that are underway and that may be needed in the near future. We'll also continue to assess the damage that was done from the storm. We also anticipate that because of the amount of water, you may see flooding happen not just now, but in the subsequent days. But I think everybody responded very quickly. I'm proud of everybody's hard work. We got more work to do, but we will absolutely get through this. Okay, Kevin Guthrie.
Good morning, everyone. Governor, thank you for your leadership time and time again. I know you and the State Emergency Response Team will lead the charge as we respond to and recover from this storm. Hurricane Milton officially made landfall. As you heard the governor say, the impacts from the storm are still being felt across north and east central Florida, even right now as that last banding train of rain starts to move offshore. Please, especially if you're in the areas, if you're in those areas of northeast Florida, the east Race Coast, Space Coast, please make sure you're sheltering in place until officials determine it is safe for you to leave. In the first 72 hours after a storm, there is a parallel effort to search, secure, and stabilize the area. As search and rescue missions continue in response to Milton, please do not go out and visit the impacted areas. You will be inhibiting first responders by doing so. Right now, we need those roadways clear for electrical crews, fire crews, EMS crews, urban search and rescue crews. We have 20-something urban search and rescue teams that will move into the area and do a door-by-door search. Even though, as you heard the governor say, this was not the worst-case scenario, we still had damage. And we're going to need to get out there and go door-to-door and make sure that everyone is okay. So please stay off the road. Listen to your local authorities for updates on when it is safe to go outside and when it is safe for you to return to your homes. I know a lot of people evacuated, and we appreciate that. Do not be in a hurry. Check in with your local emergency management agency, your local sheriff's offices, to see if they're posting anything on if it's safe to return home. Please make sure you do that. Again, as the governor said, we're going to open up roads and bridges so that you can do so, but there may be extenuating circumstances at the neighborhood level, so please make sure you're checking before you come back home. Major flooding continues along the Hillsborough, St. Johns, and Little Wekiva rivers. I want to take just a moment and just talk about there is going to be another phase to this particular incident. and that is very similar to Hurricane Ian. We have a lot of rain that has fallen over the central portion of Florida. The St. Johns River basin that comes down into Seminole County, Brevard, portions of Brevard, portions of Volusia County, and on up the St. Johns River. Those headwaters have experienced a lot of rainfall. That river takes about 45 days to completely flush itself out to the Atlantic Ocean. So what we're going to be seeing first is impacts down in the Seminole County and surrounding county area, and then you'll see that move up into Palaca, Weelaca, and then on up into St. John's, Flagler, Clay, Duval counties. So that's going to be a long-term effort when it comes to making sure that people are monitoring the situation on the St. Johns River, as well as the ones that I mentioned, Hillsborough and the Little Wekiva. Some roadways are flooded, which is not a safe situation for anyone. Please do not attempt to walk or drive through floodwaters. Accidents due to floodwaters are 100% preventable. All you got to do is turn around. If you're sheltered in place or when you return to your home and you're looking at the damages around your home right now, do one thing for us. Take out your phone, take some pictures. Inside and outside. All 4 sides of the house, every room inside the house. What are things that you should be documenting? Make sure you're documenting just the physical damages, but then also, since this was a flooding event, we want to make sure that you capture those what we call high water marks on your home. Do that inside and outside. For a point of reference, when you're on the outside of the home, make sure you get like the doorknob of the outdoor house. That'll give us a reference, a point of reference on how high that water got. If you're on the inside, make sure you have like an electrical socket or a light switch or again a door handle on the inside of your home in the picture so that we can get some type of reference as to how high that water is coming.
Yeah, as soon as I got home from work yesterday, I invited all the neighbors over to have like a pre-hurricane party, little drink. And just as soon as we had our, get everybody getting together, we thought we heard a train. It wasn't the train. The power went out. We walked outside and we saw the most ominous clouds, and then we saw the circular, motion going. Debris started flying, and it started coming at us pretty quick. So we all just kind of hunkered in and watched it go over, and then tried to assess the situation. Right afterwards, we heard a second one come through, so we went back in. We didn't see it. I guess it was, a little further up, but yeah, the neighborhood is, really pulling together, helping each other out.
Oh, I can tell. I've only been here for an hour, and I've seen you across the street. You've been all around to your neighbors. I mean, just walking outside and your home and seeing your next door neighbor have their property completely destroyed. What is that like for you?
Well, it's kind of unreal. You just think about, I'm just grateful everybody's okay. Nobody got hurt, because there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. And, we just start pulling everything together. What do you have? Who's got a generator? Who doesn't? Do we have a chainsaw? Let's, packages of gloves, pulling them out so we can all just help each other get everything cleaned up. Yeah, it's a good neighborhood to live in for sure.
Yeah, it's an excellent neighborhood. You guys are awesome towards each other. Thank you, Deborah, so much. And like she was saying, this cleanup only just beginning as the sun is rising and neighbors are walking out to see what's going on in each other's yards and how that they can help each other out. We'll go ahead and send it back to you guys at the desk. Ashley loves you. the CBS affiliate in Fort Myers.
Director Kevin Guthrie for his outstanding leadership and support, and his DEM team for their coordination and communication with all state agencies, making us the leading leaders in the nation for emergency response. We're privileged and honored to be a part of that team. Responding to hurricanes and natural disasters is what we do. As FWC officers, we have unique equipment, training, and support from Governor DeSantis and Director Guthrie to be able to provide immediate support in the wake of natural disasters and hurricanes. This is through the use of specialized equipment like shallow draft boats, airboats, swamp buggies, and other equipment to provide high water rescues. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We have deployed 135 officers teamed up with the Florida State Guard, the Division of Finance Services CUT teams, Florida Ag Law, the Florida National Guard, and the Miccosukee Tribe Law Enforcement, and local sheriff's offices up and down the coast and across the state to provide search and rescue efforts to those in greatest need. Teams with these specialized equipment for search and rescue across the state are hard at work right now. Our search and rescue efforts are ongoing, and so far this morning we've reported over 42 rescues in several counties. In Pinellas County, we've had so far 7 land rescues, 3 water rescues, several welfare checks. There were 2 arrested for looting for battery on LEO with our teams in the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and 21 rescued from an apartment building. These rescues started yesterday in the wake of the tornadoes. We had 7 local FWC officers respond to a tornado event where they rescued 6 and evacuated 4, or evacuated by 4x4 vehicles, and also conducted 30 welfare checks. In Pasco County, operations are ongoing, responding to multiple intersections, clearing trees and debris, allowing emergency vehicles to access storm-damaged areas, and responding to calls for service. In Hillsborough County, there are several people assisted from a vehicle in a ditch, 1 pulled from a flooded vehicle, 3 individuals removed from a flooded apartment, and then there was another 100 evacuated at an assisted living facility, and another 20 evacuated from a senior list facility in Tampa. So again, these efforts are ongoing. They're ongoing across the state. Like Director Guthrie said, there is going to be flooding events across the state in central and northern Florida. So please be aware, if you're in a flood-prone area, be aware of this. Our teams will be able to respond and alert all through the state throughout this time. So again, I want to thank Governor DeSantis for his leadership and support, and FWC is here to work with our partners to make sure that the Floridians are safe during this event. Thank you.
So we'll continue with the rescue operations as needed. There's a lot of damage assessments that are going to be going on today, and we're very obviously supportive of the power restoration operations. We're glad that all those folks were staged, and then also just ensuring that fuel is flowing. Hopefully we get our gas stations and big box stores and everything open very quickly. I'd imagine that will likely happen, and just get people back on their feet, and that's going to be our focus. Okay, any questions?
About Pinellas County, it's my understanding that deputies there are restricting access into the area. I don't know if you have any insight into that, or
I don't. I mean, we're going to open the bridges. I know a couple of them are open. The other 2, there's going to be debris that are going to be removed, and those bridges will be open for traffic, and Floridians can use those as they see fit. Yep.
Fatalities, has there been a tally yet as to whether
Not yet. I mean, I know there have been reports. We have not confirmed any. That does not mean there has not been any. There's a process where this happens with the state. I know with the tornadoes, it seems very likely that there were some with the tornadoes. That's the only reports we've received. No confirmations. I imagine there's going to be some confirmations, but it's too soon to tell with respect to the West Coast and the storm surge and everything. So stay tuned on that.
Storm, some Wall Street analysts predicted that Milton's losses could exceed $50 billion. Does the state have any sort of...
How the hell would a Wall Street analyst be able to know? It's been dark all day. What, you just going to know that you're going to do? I mean, give me a break on some of this stuff. They're doing damage assessments now. They always say this or that or whatever. I mean, what I would say is what I said in the original talkers. We had certain worst case scenarios in terms of going into Tampa Bay. a lot of places in Pinellas County, and they had negative storm surge because it sucked the water out of the bay. So in terms of all that, where you'd see the entire Tampa Bay area underwater, that did not happen. The storm surge, it was most acute in Sarasota, and I think it was a little bit more than Sarasota got for Helene, but it wasn't like so much more. I think it was 8 to 10 feet. Helene, of course, got almost to 20 in Taylor County. And then I think the fact that the storm weakened, I think I'm not saying there's not going to be damage. There will be. It cut across the state in a way that Helene did not. But in terms of just right now, the morning after, if I think back to like Hurricane Ian, I don't think that you're looking at similar amount of damage to Ian. And then with Helene, there may end up being more overall damage. There may not. I don't know. But definitely the surge did not reach Helene levels. I mean, Helene was producing major surge all across the west coast of Florida, and then in the Big Bend, it was just biblical. That was not necessarily what we happened here. Anything north of the storm had minimal surge on the west coast, and it was really kind of that Sarasota, Charlotte Harbor, down into Lee, Collier, but compared to what they had with Hurricane Ian, that is not on the same level. So we'll see. There'll be a lot more that'll need to be done to assess the extent of the damage. But what I think we can say is, we have a lot of resources in play here in Florida to be able to mitigate and get people back on their feet and get the state moving again. I think that's what people want. They want to get back in their homes. They want to see the roads clear. They want to see the bridges reopen. And so that's what our sole focus, so that we get people back.
The areas, Tropicana Field, had its roof shattered. It's my understanding that they were relocated on Wednesday.
Yeah, they were relocated. So, I mean, the Tropicana Field is a routine staging area for these things. The roof on that is not rated for, I think it's rated for 110 miles an hour. And so, the forecast changes, but as it became clear that there was going to be something of that magnitude that was going to be within the distance, they redeployed them out of Tropicana. So there were no state assets that were in Tropicana Field. Duke also removed all their assets as well. And, you